Welcome back, guys. In this new video I'll be showing you how to draw or how to sketch the roof framework plan for a typical hip roof. A typical roof has some basic components. The components are rafters. So these are referred as hip rafters. The hip rafters are typically at an angle of 45 degrees. We have the ridge board, ridge line, and we typically have the wall outline. This is normally shown in hidden detail line. Along the edge here, we typically have the fascia board. Our fascia board along this edge going around. So those are the main components, and also the rafters. So we have our full length common rafters, or full length common rafters, which runs from the ridge all the way down to the fascia board. And we have our fascia board that goes all the way around here. And our rafter on the roof framework plan is typically 50 millimeters wide. And these are placed 600 millimeters on center. Yeah, 600 millimeters on center, and they're typically 50 millimeters wide. Again, our rafters are typically these are the hip rafters. We have jack rafters, and our jack rafters are the short rafters, ones that run from the hip down to the fascia board. So the jack rafters are the short rafters. We typically start drawing our rafters from the ridge downward, then offset this. And these as well are 600 millimeters on center. So that's our rafters. Now, how do we draw rafters? Draw a rafter. So the first step to drawing a rafter is to establish the wall. And the wall is typically 150 millimeters thick. Typically, so we draw our wall with the different sections. And these should be in broken lines. Yeah, broken lines. For now, I'll be drawing them using so that is our wall. Yeah, and from our wall we have the roof starts typically 450 millimeters from the outside of the wall. We refer to that distance as the overhang. So the next step is to draw a line around the wall, typically 450 millimeters wide. Yeah, so this is our roof framework. This is the outer part. From that, we establish our hip rafters. And our hip rafter is typically 45. It's typically 45 degree angle from the corner, or it typically bisects the angle. It typically bisects the angle. In this case, it is 45 degrees because this angle is 90. But if this angle was more or less than 90, it would be half of that angle. So we join those first. For AutoCAD, what I would do, I would draw a circle from here, around here, and then use a quadrant to get that point. For sketch, you try to ensure that your angle is 45 or is half of that. We then draw this across, we then draw this. Then draw this across. So these are rafters, and rafters are typically, these are 50 millimeters, so these should be double 50 millimeters. And our fascia board, which is 25 millimeters by 250 millimeters, I think. So this is our fascia board, and our fascia board is that nice fancy board that covers the edge of the rafters. Remember, it is only 25 millimeters thick. The next step is to draw our rafters, and we typically start drawing our rafters from here. We draw our common rafters, establish that point. Common rafter there. You could do the same thing on this side. So this is a sketch for a typical hip roof framework. We then draw this from here all the way down to the fascia board. Now, the distance from the center of the other rafter should be 600 millimeters. So those are 600 millimeters. So this is a common rafter. These are jack rafters. And those are referred to as jack rafters because they are not the full length. Jack rafters typically run from the fascia board to the hip rafters. The hip rafters, remember, they're sloped. So I'm going ahead and I'm drawing all my rafters in place. Yeah. And again, the rafter should be 50 millimeters thick on the plan view, but on the front it is typically 150, as rafters are placed on the edge. Now, these are placed on the edge. Yeah, and now it's time for me to label. So here is my fascia board. My fascia board. And I think the fascia board is 256 by 25. Yeah, fascia board. And the fascia board runs all the way around. This is our common rafters, or common rafters. Or common rafters. And our common rafters are 150 by 50, and they are placed at 600 millimeters apart. So these are our common rafters. Yeah. We also have our jack rafters. Jack rafters. And our jack rafters are 150 by 50, and they're also placed at 600 millimeters apart. And these are our jack rafters. Jack rafters are the short rafters. We also have our hip rafter. Hip rafter. Or hip rafters typically 150 by 50, and it is always either at 45 degrees or half the angle that is formed. Yeah, the hip rafter always bisect the angle. In this case, this angle is square, so this side is square, so the angle is 45, which is typical. But there are instances when the angle is not typical, is not square. So we have common rafters, jack rafters, hip rafters. Next is our ridge board. Next we have our ridge board. And our ridge board is typically 200 by 50, and the ridge board is always horizontal. It's horizontal. This is it. I said, this is a typical roof. We have other roof that might have cleats, might have purlin, might have plyboard over these, but this is typically the roof, the framework. So this is a typical hip roof framework. Yeah, there are roofs that have sections which has valleys, but this is a base. This is a more basic, or one of the most basic roof that you'll find. In subsequent videos, I will cover some other type of roof like pitch roof, mono pitch roof, hip and gable, and all those other type of roofs.